What's up gamers, DreamcastGuy here, talking today about the state of play that we just witnessed, because Sony put on quite a show. It had a lot of PlayStation 4 games, a surprising amount of PlayStation 5 games, but some of this stuff kinda sucked. There definitely weren't as many giant surprises as some of us may have hoped, but the strangest thing about this presentation is that one of the games they just revealed might already be cancelled. Yes, I'm being dead serious. One of the games we saw literally seconds ago when I streamed the event, one of those games, actually every developer just quit, and Sony decided to show the trailer despite the fact that technically nobody is working on the game. But let me just talk about that in a second. So what I want to do in this video is go through this in order. Let's look at each of the games that was revealed today and talk about some of my rough thoughts. The presentation began with Crash Bandicoot 4, and let me just say, this is probably one of my most favorite games that they talked about during the State of Play. It looks magnificent. So many of the new levels, the new characters, the fact that we're going to get to play as the previous boss Dingodile. He is now a playable character. The thing that really grabbed me the most, though, is that Crash Bandicoot 4 is apparently going to give a bunch of options for people who want to make the game easier or harder. If you want to play the game and have infinite lives and lots of chances to experiment and learn all the masks, that is an option. They're calling it the modern version. But if you want to make it extra difficult, not only can you make it so you have limited lives or limited time, they revealed a thing today where you could actually reverse the entire game itself. Now, this is like an ultra hard mode that's actually going to remix the graphics, maybe the levels, the speed. It's going to make it so if you can beat the game like this, you're a true ultimate master. And to me, as a super hardcore Crash Bandicoot fan, this seems so freaking amazing. It definitely was one of my favorite things we saw today. Now, the next game they showed was just a tiny teaser, but one that I definitely was invested in, which was Hitman III. Now, the trailer itself was just a couple seconds of basically Agent 47 walking in and getting ready to strangle this dude, but they revealed that it seems like the next game is going to be completely VR optional. So if you want to try and roleplay being a bald person yourself, well, now you can. And it looks pretty legit. Obviously, it's still just classic Hitman, but still being done. I'm interested in this game. I definitely want to see more gameplay of it. There's some stuff about this that I just kind of want to see more in action despite just the cool graphics. Now, next up, they revealed Spelunky 2. Hooray, how great. Spelunky 2. It's a tiny indie game. It looks like more Spelunky. I was into this game many years ago. Now I don't really care too much. But if you're a Spelunky fan, congratulations. I guess you have something to be excited about. Now, this next game is definitely one that confused me. They revealed this trailer that initially looked like it was going to be a sequel to the legendary puzzle game Braid. I'm sure pretty much everybody played this. It was an Xbox Live game way back in the day. The people that actually made that game ended up writing books and stuff about its development. It came out in 2008, but was still a really bombshell experience. Well, now they're doing an anniversary edition. It still looks like the same game, but they decided to just redo the art. It's same puzzles, same game, same everything, just, hey, we decided to redo the art and put it on PlayStation 5 in 2021. So, yeah, it's a little bit weird that such a simplistic game is getting a remake 13 years later, but if you want it, it's there. Now, the next game that was indie that came out is one that, when I was streaming this, it didn't seem like chat was invested as I was, but I'll be honest, I was very blown away by The Pathless. If I had to try and describe it, this is by the developers that did Abzu, which was a very soothing, like, underwater exploration experience. It was very much an interesting game because it was focused, it was short, the game itself was under 3 hours. This looks so much faster. In the gameplay they showed, and they actually revealed a lot of it, we saw this new hero going around and using their bow to propel themselves through the air. Hitting targets would actually give you, like, a boost, so you could sort of, like, fly along the ground at hyper speeds, and then once you started getting up high, you'd have this eagle that lets you actually fly for yourself. It could actually soar up in the air and let you coast across the map. So I guess you're going to be like charging up energy, climbing up towers, and then trying to fly across the land to find these like corrupted obelisks. And by finding these, you get to unlock the big boss fights. Now, it's difficult to see what's going on with this game specifically because obviously this is our first time seeing it, and we're seeing a very tiny slice of the overall like gameplay loop. But it does seem like it's going to be almost like Breath of the Wild meets Shadow of the Colossus. Something where you're going to be trying to have an overall objective, but there's only going to be boss fights. There's always going to be these like very centered, objective-based gameplay. But to me, Nameless is a huge eye-grabber, and to me, this is definitely the biggest surprise of the presentation because I didn't even know about it a couple minutes ago, and now I definitely am going to buy it. Next up was Genshin Impact. Now this game I've seen talked about, I believe it's been out for a while over in Japan. The game itself is a little bit confusing because it is very, very Nintendo-ish in its style. The way they try and handle the graphics, it definitely... I hate to say that they're ripping off The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, but it kind of looks like they're trying to definitely take a page from their book. I'm curious enough about the game that I'm going to play it, but the more I see at this game, I guess I don't quite get it. There are these styles of games that pop up occasionally that just feel like anime personified. It's like tragic backstories and crazy adventures, but they just feel so much like an anime in action. And I'm not the biggest anime person, so when I see those experiences, I'm not particularly invested. But I'm definitely going to give it a shot whenever it pops up. I guess that's again one of those games that's going to be like the final PlayStation 4 releases. So of all the games they showed today, there was a lot of stuff that was cool, there was some stuff that was a little bit boring, but the one that was the most perplexing and definitely one of the most confusing things I've encountered in all of 2020 is this game called Aeon Must Die. Now, what's crazy about this game is that as soon as they decided to upload it, this literally just got uploaded a couple minutes ago, on the trailer, somebody uploaded a separate video that was called Aeon Must Die Original Version Truth in the Description. Now, I'm putting the descriptions up here so you can see it. Some guy named Erky posted and said, "This trailer was created with abuse, manipulation, and theft. Find out the truth of developments in this game here. People who have worked on every shot of this game are no longer with the company holding IP rights. Some were not even paid for their work. This trailer has a pending conflict of IP. The real IP for the game was stolen from the creators via foul play. Final reaction of the publisher to this information remains to be seen." This is literally the developer saying they have all quit. Now, if you go into their Dropbox, they basically say that nobody was being paid. They were being forced to continue the project. They kept showing up for work because they didn't want to be fired, but even though they were developing this game that graphically is kind of gorgeous, it's certainly interesting, they just decided to quit. Everybody decided to walk out, and so now nobody's making the game. Even this trailer was actually made by Sony or the publishers. It's very baffling. It's one of those situations that I don't think I've ever heard about a game being shown and canceled pretty much simultaneously. But let's go back into the positive light and talk about Bugsnax. Now, Bugsnax, when I first saw it, I didn't understand it. The first time I saw it, I was not impressed, to be perfectly honest. But now that we saw a bigger reveal about Bugsnax, I understand it. Basically, Bugsnax, we got a story reveal. We got a chance to see stuff about it. It looks like we're going to be playing like a journalist who this is his last chance to try and prove himself. So he's going to like a secret island to try and prove that the Bugsnax are real. They're creatures that are half bug, half snack. There will be stuff like a spider strawberry, or there was like a pizza, or there was like a hamburger that was also like a crab. And now that I've seen it, it's starting to make more sense to me. I am going to play Bugsnax, but I'm kind of curious how much of an audience it's going to find. Sometimes I see something that looks fun to me, but I'm curious how mainstream of an appeal it can have. Like, I do think that a bunch of like games journalists are going to be into this. I do think that some Let's Players will probably do it, but I'm kind of wondering how many people that pick up a PlayStation 5 are going to actually drop cash for Bugsnax. Now, these next three projects are much smaller. In fact, one is just downloadable content, but I can't help but be excited for it, which is actually downloadable content for Control. Now, you guys know this. I'm a huge fanboy for Remedy games. I think their projects are extremely cool, but my favorite has always been Alan Wake. So this DLC is surprisingly going to be bringing Alan Wake into the game Control. It looks like it's going to be some sort of optional new thing, like after the main story is over, where we're going to maybe going to the land of Bright Falls or something. And I don't know exactly what's going on, but the fact that Alan Wake is really returning in a game, and the fact that it'll be on a PlayStation 4, this to me is a very, very big deal, and it really kind of rewards the long-term fans. Next up, they showed a PlayStation VR game called Vader Immortal. Yep, you get to be Darth Vader, you have a lightsaber, you get to randomly shoot some electricity out of your hands. I mean, I'm probably not going to buy this game, but hey, it looks fun to the people that are into VR and also happen to be super hardcore Star Trek people. Now, next up, they showed another little indie game, and one that looks like it could probably run on cell phones called Pedestrian. There's not even really much to say. You have like a stick figure guy who's running around on little stop signs and stuff, and you connect dots and he goes to the next stop sign. What do you want? It's Pedestrian. Now, the next game they showed was a surprise reveal for a new PlayStation 5 game, at least as far as I know, which was called Hood. Let me read the exact name here. Outlaws and Legends. If I had to try and describe this reveal, it was definitely kind of out of nowhere. I kind of like the fact that we didn't have any like leaks of this, but it sort of reminds me of like Assassin's Creed multiplayer combined with Thief. It looks like maybe we're going to be dropped into a giant map and there will be like an entire city at our disposal with a singular target, like a church we need to rob or a bank that has like a giant vault. And so the team of outlaws versus the team of legends are trying to get there, get the treasure, or kill each other as fast as possible. Now, a lot of this is my own speculation because the trailer, as great as it looked, it didn't give us a bunch of information, but hopefully we see more soon, except for the fact that that's coming in 2021, so it's probably pretty far off on the horizon. They also said that Temtem, the Pokemon ripoff game, which is totally what it is. I mean, the developers themselves have basically said that it's supposed to be a Pokemon ripoff. It's coming to PlayStation 5. Hooray! But now let me talk about what I consider the biggest disappointments of the show, which is the Godfall gameplay. Obviously, there are aspects of Godfall that I definitely do love. I do think that the art direction, the lore, there looks like there's probably going to be a lot of cool mythos. I think that the graphical presentation is extremely impressive, but now that we've just seen some raw gameplay and some combats, this game looks so boring. Maybe it's just that the game is extremely unfinished, or maybe somebody's going to try and have the Halo excuse and go, actually, this is a demo that was made in January. This demo that they showed here was very, very raw. I mean, so many times the enemies hardly fought back. People just stood there and went, stab me, daddy. Like, I don't think that this game looks fun or exciting. Maybe they just put it on ultra easy mode for some reason to make sure they wouldn't die in the demo, but I do not think that this was a good showing of the game at all. And to be honest, if this was all I saw, like to the people who saw Godfall for the first time ever and this was it, I don't think those people would pre-order it. I don't care how much you talk about progression trees or random weapons or how you're going to get the chance to slay God himself. This was not a good showing of a game. And since this was definitely the highest budget PlayStation 5 game we saw today, I am very disappointed. I wish that Godfall managed to have a lot more polish to it. But these have just been my off-the-cuff thoughts. Obviously, I just streamed the event. It was fun to watch it. Thank you to the 1,700 concurrent viewers, a new record for the channel. That was my biggest stream ever by far. I really appreciate it, and more streams in the future at some point. But I want to know your thoughts. Tell me what you thought, as brutally honest as possible. Tell me what you thought about the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5 State of Play. But do me the biggest favor of all, and keep dreaming. Also, be sure you're subscribed. I'm going to be doing a big video on Avengers tomorrow. The Avengers beta starts. I'm going to be playing it and giving you some raw details on what's good and awful about it. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.